Hey, Dr. Kimberly, it says that we're live.
It does. Well,
Folks, we're loving technical difficulties here as the holiday season approaches. What? We're happy that, what the Thanksgiving turkey and Santa Claus, they don't deal with technology, right?
they don't.
They don't?
Us old folk don't either.
Oh, it's us old folks trying to learn new tricks.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you. So, welcome. Today is, oh my gosh, the 22nd?
23rd. It's my mom's
23rd?
birthday.
Happy
No,
birthday
it's not.
to your
Today
mom.
is it's the 23rd.
The 23rd, which in theory is I'm looking at the wrong month here. It's the fourth Thursday of November, and November this year has an extra gift of a fifth Tuesday, but that's next week. Let's not worry about next week. Let's talk about this Tuesday because you're rolling on the road.
Yes, with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. Woo-hoo!
Ooh, and we continue to celebrate and honor and uplift our veterans. As we've been saying for 23 days, one day is not enough to honor our veterans. In fact, it should be 365, but we digress.
But that's next week. Let's not worry about next week.
I'm hearing myself.
We've been saying for 23 days,
That's
day is not enough
that's
to honor our
Dave.
veterans.
And so we need to continue to honor veterans, put a spotlight on awesome things that are happening, put a spotlight on not awesome things that need to be fixed. So here we are, Dr. Kimberly.
We are. We want to say good afternoon.
Tuesday.
Tracy Wall says good afternoon. Good afternoon, Tracy. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you, sister.
But you know what? I'm excited because today we're talking to a very good friend of mine, Heidi Zella. And I think there's many marginalized communities that rest in the regular community, if you will. But when we start talking about segregated groups like military or nursing or doctors, I think we open up a whole nother can of worms. What do you think about that?
It is a can of worms that needs to be opened, and we are the people to open them.
I believe that we are. So today, as we celebrate our veterans, I am so honored to have Army veteran Heidi Zella, who just happens to be a part of the LGBTQ community. And I love her.
Well, I love you.
And I'm telling you, if you could have anybody in your boat paddling on the rough waters, definitely Heidi is one of those persons that you want rowing in the boat with you. I'm telling you, I think that's kind of a little bit of a Navy pun there, if you will. But definitely.
Yeah, I'd dig your foxhole for you.
Do we have to put up a PG-13 rating on this show? I'm starting to see we could get into. I'm just going to leave it at that. Welcome, Heidi.
Hey, you do what you got to do, Dave.
I'm just making sure we, got to maintain our, nonprofit status. And I don't think I have to worry about such things.
But a foxhole is something we do in the Army. It's a defensive position. So she had to bring up Navy and paddling a boat, and I had to do the digging.
I'm just, this could just go in all kinds of bad double entendre directions from a rated G variety. Foxholes, paddling. Stop.
Okay. No, but we want to okay, we can be serious. I think sometimes
be serious.
We want to say hello to Vertaji Bailey, who is an avid watcher of Rolling on the Road, and she is all the way in Detroit, Michigan. And we want to say thank you for all of those who are watching live and those who will watch the replay. we appreciate you. We are in 50 states, 9 countries, and in over 160 cities. And so we're just so grateful that we continue on the path that we've been on. And as we kind of wind down, I mean, I'm really excited because our final guest for that 5th Tuesday is going to be the Michigan director of the Veterans Affairs Agency, Zanetta Adams. So I'm just, I know, right? Yes. What a great way to end the month.
My hero.
Absolutely. She's my shero as well. We support each other on a personal as well as on a state level. And I'm so grateful for all that we continue to do together to work to help our veterans and those persons that are in marginalized communities. I think Heidi and I kept trying to figure out, we're like these old heads, as they call them, trying to figure out what era were we in? You know, were we part of the, well, we don't talk about what our sexuality is? Are we in the don't ask, don't tell? You know, so I think that we figured out that we kind of served during the crossover, you know, that we were at one point, if they found out, you were immediately sentenced, you served your sentence, and then you were discharged.
You were
from the
what?
Yeah.
That was a military crime?
Oh yeah, it was. I had
Yes.
friends get locked up in the brig for being gay because that was
Yes.
one of the questions that they had on the entrance form was, do you have homosexual tendencies? And that's just the beginning.
And then you would, I mean, I never heard this part of the story, Dr. Kimberly, that you would get locked up for being gay,
Yes.
not just discharged.
Not just discharged. You had to serve a minimum of 30 days. For us, since we were on the ship, you were quarantined to the ship for 30 days. However, if the relationship was supposedly with another sailor, then both of you were taken off and sent away to separate duty stations. And depending on like your longevity, we had some folks that had some rank, and they were offered another duty station, a reprimand, and then they were demoted. So it was, how far did you want to, you know, come out of the closet? Do you just want to stick a toe out, or, you know, maybe the pinky finger?
Yeah, there was no coming out in my day.
What years did you serve, Heidi?
Excuse me?
What years did you serve?
I served from 1985 to 1999. And so I went in when it was totally illegal, and they would get you for lying on a government form is what they would lie. And in my case, I was an avid softball player. I mean, they went to the lengths of putting undercover CID agents on our softball team to try to, we called them the witch hunts.
Well, we had them.
This didn't happen in America. Quit making this stuff up.
I promise you. And
Holy
I
mackerel.
Everybody thought that I was an undercover agent. I said, no, I'm for real Navy. I mean, I for real joined. I mean,
but again,
I can show you.
Yeah. Not to make light of the situation, because, I mean, you know, what little bit was in the news, you know, was like, yeah, we got to do something. We have to do this don't ask, don't tell, and let people serve. But this idea that people were persecuted is unbelievable.
It was worse than that. As a matter of fact, I really had to prepare for this today because it started triggering the PTSD within me. Is I was sexually extorted. I had a top secret clearance. And if you weren't screwing the guys in the barracks, and especially if you played softball, they used that to their advantage, because all it would take was one person to report you that you were gay, and they were pulling your clearance because, you know, you were a threat to national security.
Yeah, you were a security threat because the Russians
The
or
Russians at the time, it was
whoever,
Cold War.
they would be able to blackmail you into giving us secrets. But
Well, I think that, for me, on the flip side, I came in a year before Heidi did, and just my personal experiences, we didn't talk about, homosexuality, especially if you were in the church. And I mean, there were so many that were quote unquote undercover in the church. And I think my own belief system coming in, I was a homophobe. And so my first encounter with someone from the LGBT community, we got into a physical altercation because I felt that she was too close in my space. And she was too close in my space. And we were both sent to the commanding officer, and the look on her face, I guess you're right, it does trigger some things. Just the look on her face that she came in to provide for her son and basically had gotten ostracized by her family. And this was a way to prove that she was quote unquote normal. She had a baby to say that she was quote unquote, normal. And but I get you can't change how you feel and who you're attracted to. And I mean, when it was all said and done, I was like, oh, okay, I can, it took me years before I said, oh my God, I was flattered that, oh, girls and boys like me. I'm laughing now. I wasn't then, but I had a choice. To ruin this person's career or just chalk it up as an experience. We just had a disagreement and not out her. I chose not to out her.
Well, as a matter of fact, I mean, I was in Germany for 6 years, and every gay club in Germany was off limits. And if you were a U.S. service member caught in one of those clubs, you could be hauled out by the MPs. You could be put in the brig. You could be put barracks under arrest in the barracks, facing criminal or military criminal charges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
And then I just know this in my time frame. It was when President Clinton came into office. It became don't ask, don't tell, because I was
Right.
still serving in the Army Reserves, and then you had to hear all the crap from all the bubbas. Oh, Clinton's Army. Oh, Clinton's Army. Yeah, and wow, it was when Department of Defense allowed gays to come into the military. That just, you want to talk about can of worms? Did we start this off with a can of worms?
We did.
That opened up a whole can of worms within me, and brought all kinds of stuff back to surface. Yeah, I'm all for it. Hey, love is love. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I was probably one of the best damn soldiers, you know what I mean? It wasn't, and this is what used to upset me when I was in with the top secret clearance. It wasn't even the gays that were selling the dang service or the secrets. It was all
Right.
the heterosexual males being lured by
By
the
women.
by the spies,
Yeah.
women spies. You know,
yeah.
it didn't
Well,
hold water.
And the part to keep putting the spotlight on as well is what are the sexual crimes committed against women from the moment women were able to serve, but because they were male perpetrators, and that they're still fighting, should it just be handled within the chain of command, or it should be a separate system?
I want to correct you on that, though, Dave. I'm finding out it wasn't just men doing that to women. I'm finding out that women also did that to male soldiers too.
Okay.
So I wanted to go both ways, but yes, the majority of us women.
But the vast majority was heterosexual impropriety.
Correct.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we've got to throw out gay folks, but we're gonna almost always turn the other, look the other way when it comes to heterosexual, again, criminal activity.
Sodomy is what they called it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, in the military, sodomy was defined as anything other than the missionary position with somebody of the opposite sex. So that's how they got you.
Yes. Yes.
That was the definition of sodomy. And that's how they booted
many out. I put up the comment that Sarah made about the number of couples that get married and say, okay, we're all going to house share so that they could remain in secret and be able to maintain some semblance of a relationship. And I don't believe that people need to do that because what it does, it did not create, I don't believe, a security breach when it came to the United States and another country. It created a security breach amongst all of the soldiers, because now it's like I have something to hold over you. And that was something that I witnessed more so than it being a national security breach. So now we have this trust factor that doesn't exist with my comrade that I need. If they call us to war, I need us to be in solidarity, not worried that you're going to out me as somebody who doesn't do what you do, however you would like to put that. I mean, we want to keep this, PG and not so much PG-13 or, MA, mature audience only. But I looked at the number of friends that I had that would get married just so they could have a cover. And I don't believe that everyone deserves the right to live their best authentic life.
Well, and you know what?
Show up to work.
Thank God for changing, because it's okay now. It's okay now.
And we found out
legally it's okay.
I was gonna, again, I mean, unfortunately, the caricature that you said, Heidi, of people, who are still not accepting and are going to, make snide comments, acts of violence, physical violence, it might be legal. I mean, again, and what are issues we still have with an integrated army? I mean, that the army was segregated until the 1950s, late 40s.
1948.
There you go. So I mean, we're still dealing with race issues within the armed services. We're dealing with race issues everywhere. And then I guess we are dealing with gender issues and sexual preference issues everywhere in our community. And it's just like, folks, can we not grow up? What's the holdup here?
Believe it or not,
we have a question.
Go ahead.
We have a question from from one of our viewers. She wants to know, do you feel as a veteran that you are accepted, and have you had any issues as a veteran within the veteran community?
Well, I just happen to be a woman veteran who happens to be gay. I don't feel accepted as just being a woman veteran. Now throw the gay into that?
Right.
No. And when you approached me about this and you said, hey, I want to talk to you about the VA resources for LGBTQ in the VA, and I'm like, what resources? And I did some research on it, and I guess there's resource programs that started back in 2016.
Yes.
But I never looked into it because being gay in the military, to me, in my mind, it'd go hand in hand. Hey, let's just stick with being recognized as a woman veteran. But go back to that question again. Did I miss anything?
No. Do you feel accepted in the veteran community?
Oh, heck
I
no.
know, huh?
I don't feel accepted in the veteran community as a woman. Now I'll put gay on top, that gay label on top of that? No way.
This is true.
But I tell you what, when I do have to go into the VA, I make sure that I have my Women Serve Too sweatshirt on, and then this is my little dig to them. I'm gonna see if I can show you. Hang on a minute. I wear my rainbow shoes. So that's my little dig of my little secret I kept. And I made it. I got an honorable discharge. I was never caught. But there sure in the heck was undercover teams out looking. My
But
name
you
kept
served-
getting brought.
I mean, you served 16 years. Did I do the math?
14.
14 years. And what little I know about the military is, retirement benefits hit at 20 years.
They got the best of me, Dave.
So you just couldn't make another 6 years?
No, they got the best of me. No, I've had the crap beat out of me, nose broken by a man in the Army Reserve Unit during an annual training in Kentucky for being gay, while 5 other men watched me get beat. And I demanded a military investigation, but because I admitted to having a couple beers that night where this guy was totally wasted, they chalked it up as a alcohol related incident and blew it off. Yeah, no, they got the best of me with the sexual harassment, and that's when I said enough is enough. I'm done, and I had to make a life choice. And then when you do end up retiring in the reserves, you don't collect until you're 60 some. So I did not want to go another 6 years of living that life in order to try to collect something when I'm 60 something. No way. Nope. Done. Had enough. Yeah.
And the question back to you, Dr. Kimberly, have you felt accepted as a woman veteran?
No. And then you add on that being African American.
Correct.
So I definitely feel Heidi in that. I'm married to an Army veteran. And when we go in to get services, he's pushing me in the wheelchair, and they just assume that it's just him is the veteran and I'm the one that has the issue. I take him in to get his steroid shots. And I remember the nurse coming out, and she's just like, so she looks at me in the wheelchair. So what are we having done today? I said, nothing. Maybe I could use, my nails getting done, but other than that, I don't think anything. And she's like, what? I said, yeah. And I said, he's here for the service. I said, not me. And she's like, oh, well, who's going to drive? We have to have the driver. And I said, I'm the driver. And it's like, oh, so here we go. We have ableism. We have sexism, at play here.
But, I don't know how much time or how much you want to get into this, but I had some very, very good friends in the military who were married. One was 6 years before retiring, and the other one, and they had high up positions within the United States Army Europe. And because some subordinate that reported to her went back to the States and started singing that these two that were married weren't married, that they were both gay. But in reality, they were really married. They were really had a married life. And she had 6 years until retirement. And they pulled their clearances, and they had higher than top secret clearances. And he was a German linguist in the military intelligence, and because they pulled his clearance pending investigation, he was nothing but worthy of issuing towels at the gym. And then his wife, my friend, also needed somewhere to go to be able to put her 6 months in order to retire. And all because of one little young soldier disgruntled with her leadership started singing that song, and it made life pure hell for them. And then when they were being investigated, all of our names on the softball team got brought up. And
Yep.
that was my turning point of getting out of the regular army. Is I didn't want to be part of these investigations. So I got out while I was getting good. I still got an honorable discharge.
You know, I say that it was a waste. You know, they would always post waste, fraud, and abuse. And I said, I think this is waste, fraud, and abuse to conduct these investigations. Because if you're doing your job, what you do in the privacy of your home, in the intimacy of your bedroom, is nobody's business. Absolutely none.
I get that, but it's not even just in the privacy of your own home and your own bedroom. It's about who you love.
True.
It's more than what's going on in the bedroom. It's about you're being persecuted for loving. But our days,
But they
of
don't
growing
talk
up, my
about-
age, I'm 54 years old. It wasn't accepted by society. So yeah, you had to cover that up. Yeah. So
We want to acknowledge, we have a comment here. I truly appreciate your personal bravery by sharing your experience with our audience. And thank you for your honorable serve. We want to say thank you to Amber for that comment.
thank you, Amber.
Heidi.
Thank you.
I
I
It's
don't want
amazing
these
how-
times to ever be forgotten.
Excuse me, and are these things again? How well is that just wacky part of the military's history documented? I mean, it probably had to happen. I mean, way before. I mean, again, anytime before women were allowed to serve, there were probably a 99.9% likelihood they were gay men in the military, but they hid it. They hid it extremely well, or again, get booted out. And then once women were part of it, there are women who happen to be lesbians, and so it's just like, but like the stories you're telling, again, I semi-consider myself well-read, and to hear this, like, what? You got put in the brig, and then I thought it was just a dishonorable discharge and get out of here, you. But
But who the heck wants to be with a dishonorable discharge for?
Oh
who you
no, I
love?
know.
In publicly, it is starting to come out. Lisa Ling just did a story on the LGBTQ and had a lady that was in the service in the 50s. So just 2 weeks ago. I mean, so it's starting to come out. But yes, I want this to be in the history books. So 100 years from now, somebody can go back and say, "Holy crap! This is how gays were treated in the military."
Absolutely.
Serving their country, willing to give their life
Mhm.
for everyone else's freedoms, even the ones that persecuted us. Yeah, I want this in the history books, and I'm looking for a writer. If anyone out there wants to be my writer, I am looking for an author. I just can't write.
Well, I'm sure that we can make that connection. And we'll talk more about that after the show. And definitely we will get that done because that's how we do here. But the other piece is I do appreciate how they have moved, the LGBTQ community into mainstream, not just with adults, but they're doing it with children. I had the opportunity to take the time to watch A Million Little Things after I so smartly got my third dose of the vaccine, the flu, and pneumonia all at one time. I had an opportunity to be laid up for a minute to, catch up on some shows. And I appreciate the show A Million Little Things. I think they need to, give us a great shout out. And they start out very young with an 11-year-old turning 12, who was coming into his sexuality and realized that, hey, I like boys, and how he had to deal with that. And even, the mom went to Europe for a period of time and left some friends to watch her children while she was gone. And it was interesting because the dad of the friend, I would say he's probably in his late 60s, had served in the military. So he made the assumption that his dad was just this gung-ho heterosexual relationships, and was afraid to invite him over because he didn't want him to say anything to this 12-year-old child that had just come out. He's trying to help him through it. And he's like, my dad is just the worst. And it was so good how that stage was set. And when the opportunity came up and the young boy by accident blurted out that, oh yeah, I wonder if John likes me and I'm going to invite him over and how should we do it? And the room just got so quiet because he was like, oh my God, he said this in front of my dad. And he was waiting for his dad to just say something horrible. And what he did was he pulled out a picture of a soldier that he had been carrying in his wallet since the Vietnam War. And he said he had been waiting to find this guy's partner to be able to give him this picture. He said, he didn't do it, but he carried it. And he said, because this young man saved their whole platoon, but he was gay. And he just happened to find out by accident that this guy was gay. And he had the choice to out him, and he didn't. He saved his picture and kept it hid and honored him and made sure that, the young man was given a Medal of Honor, a Purple Heart, because of his bravery and saving his whole army regime, in the thick of it. And I got emotional.
You're making me cry right now.
I got emotional to take such a sensitive subject. You have a child, you have someone who served in the military, and certainly, I'm not talking about 1975 Vietnam. I'm talking about, in the 60s when it first started. And to go into the military, you certainly, not as male or female, would dare even whisper anything related to your sexuality. He found some arbitrary girl, and I guess him and the guy had made this up before they left. So they were assuming that he was always writing to his girl, and he was actually writing to a guy, but that was their code so that they could still stay in contact with each other. And
You know what I wished for during Desert Storm? I wished right when Desert Storm, I wish that everyone that was gay would have stood up. Then
Yeah,
they wouldn't have had any freaking forces over there.
I agree.
Or they would have had forces, but maybe half the force.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I give credit. I give credit to the LGBTQ community for never backing down, for fighting the good fight. And look, nobody's got to worry about that, the legal ramifications of being
Yeah.
gay in the military today.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
I think that, I think the part that really made me feel so sad was the fact that his family had disowned him, and to save face for his family, that's why he joined the military, so that he could say that, well, okay, let's shut all this down at home, because they're not going to accept me there, so I have to be a man. I am a man because I joined the military, and still trying to hide there and fit in, and one person knew, was let in, and how he preserved him all of these years and carried that picture as a reminder. And he said just wanted to be able to give it to the person that it rightfully should have gone to, but in that moment was able to give it to a 12-year-old boy to say, this is the example that has been set for you. You can be whoever you want to be. He had to hide, but know that you don't have to hide today.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I joined the military. I realized I was gay my senior year in high school. I was a 3-sport athlete. Still was shamed for not being able to come out to my family, and I joined the military to get the heck up out of my town, to maybe to hide it, to hide it more. But I think in reality, though, a lot of people back in 1985 did the same thing, or even to this day do the same thing. And you get to basic training, and you get to be around all these people from different parts of the United States. And guess what? I think that's probably when I first realized I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And so, yeah, I think that's probably why I joined the military, is to escape my hometown of having to face the persecutions or to be called a freak. Because I've been called a freak before.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
Just because of who I love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're loved here. You're in a safe space, and I honor you. I salute you as my sister in arms. And I can only apologize for myself and provide a platform for others to walk in an opportunity to see the error of their ways, and to say, hey, first of all, forgive yourself for having those feelings of negativity towards someone else because they're not the same as you. But I can openly say that I consider you one of my closest friends. If I need something, if I can depend on you, I know that I can. Again, I honor you. I salute you on behalf of all those who have made you to feel as if you were not a part in any kind of way, whether it was in a church, whether it is being a veteran, whether it was serving on active duty. I want to apologize openly to you. I apologize. I apologize for even having been so close-minded.
But do you know
my
that
first 6 to 8 months while on active, coming into active duty. I mean, we're not talking about boot camp. I mean, boot camp, everybody's getting beat down. But when I saw the atrocities that were happening to others just because of who they loved. We're not talking about, sexual improprieties or just being loose. I'm talking about those who had a deep love and connection and relationship. And I watched them, the love that they had for each other that had to be hidden away, the mask that had to be worn, the great care and protection that had to be adhered to for fear of reprisal. I have seen those, hey, can we borrow the laundry keys and take somebody down there and, put a whipping on them? What happened? And they don't talk about it, but I know what happened to you. I apologize for not having a strong enough voice.
Yeah,
I
but that's part of
apologize.
the aging, and you know what? A lot of it's a part of awareness. A lot of it's part of awareness.
Um,
Yeah.
Dave, any final words?
Well, I mean, to simply add an echo and an amen to that apology, and making sure that we continue to make amends for those times, as a nation, and what's the part that we play in the silence. The story you tell of your being attacked and 5 people just watching silently, and it's just like, how many of those people thought this just isn't right, but we know how many acted on that, and it's like, folks, this just isn't right. I mean, if somebody is committing, sexual harassment, sexual crimes, those are wrong. It doesn't matter, male, female, male, male, female, female. I mean, that doesn't matter. It's a crime. It's a harassment. That's wrong. But the part that's just people loving each other, that's just, to label that wrong is beyond wrong. So that's where Heidi, earlier, when this was the army definition of sodomy, was everything that's not this, and this is very narrow, and it's like, you just can't label all that as wrong.
Listening to this, it made me think of, I had to make a quick run out yesterday, and I don't go out much with this pandemic. But I ended up next to a car, and as I was pulling up, I seen and it wasn't a bumper sticker. They literally took letters and put it on their car, and it said F Biden and LGBTQ on their car yesterday here in my hometown. People think that that's okay driving around on that with that. That's their advertisement. I just, it's awareness. It's awareness. It's and to let people know that we're people too.
Absolutely. To as we wrap up, Sarah, I want to say thank you, Sarah Boyd, for weighing in on today. And she says, as a fellow sister in arms and a bisexual, what can we do to make it more comfortable in our communities? I believe that we're already doing it. Number one, acknowledging that we committed an error, that we have sinned, and it's been extremely egregious in the way that it's been demonstrated. Um, and if each person, I think we've said this before on this show, that we can't legislate people's hearts, but the only thing that we can do is just provide an open forum and an opportunity like this to be able to show you as a real person, whether you're a Black, you're white, you're indigenous, if you're female, if you're male, if you're queer, you're not quite sure where you fit in on the spectrum, if you're living with a disability, whether it's visible or non-visible. But here at Rolling on the Road, we take the responsibility to make sure that everyone feels included and give them an opportunity in a intellectual way, to the best of your ability, to express your thoughts, your opinions, for them to be heard in a safe space without condemnation.
You're doing it, Dr. Kim and Dave. You're giving a platform and you're opening the window in order for people to speak their truths. Yeah, you're doing it.
And
I
so
thank
we will, as long as the law allows, to be open, to be able to share, provide a space. And to all of those who have served and had to serve in secret, those who are now serving and can serve openly, we salute you and we thank you. We thank you so much for your service to our country. We thank you for your sacrifices. We thank you for making today better than it was yesterday because of the things that you had to suffer. Because truly, as women, as anyone who is not of the Anglo-Saxon community, those who love differently, we all had to experience something in order for you to achieve the freedoms that you have on today. So when you say thank you so much for serving your country, it is more than just signing our name on a piece of paper and raising our right hand to say that we will defend the Constitution of the United States and defend it against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And you put your name in the blank. I said, I, Kimberly, and stated my last name, and said that I would defend the Constitution. And the Constitution says that everybody has the right to live
in the
a good
pursuit of
life.
happiness, right? Liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
Absolutely. Whatever that looks like for them. And so I admonish you on today, as we close here on Rolling on the Road. Number one, forgive yourself for your thoughts, for your opinion, your innuendos, your bias, your preference, your prejudice. Forgive yourself. And now that you know better, the next time, you know what? You just say, do it 6 feet away though, and with a mask on and vaccinated.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, because we don't want to pass off cooties, that have respect. Just it's about respecting someone else's preference to live their own self-directed life. And we thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be in the same place on next week, and we are so excited to culminate this whole month. Wow. We're breaking barriers around here, guys. She is the first African American to hold the title and position of director of the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. And what great, barriers that she has truly knocked down from being in office. I thank you to her, and I can't wait to tell her for her personal courage and bravery. And we want to thank you, Heidi, for your personal bravery and courage to come on here today to tell your story and to live your truth. We love you, we appreciate you, and we're going to get you somebody to help you tell that story. All right. So until next week, if you have not been vaccinated, please, Michigan is in the top 10 again. Come on, people. I
think we're number one
to get COVID.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, folks. Celebrate safely. Yeah. What more can we say?
I can say thank you.
Again, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Heidi.